You know what? I've got a bone to pick. I don't want you monkey mouse mother... Okay, no, we're not going to go down that path here. I've got a little bit of a bone to pick with BetMGM. I'm not sponsored or anything. You know, I'm not going to go out there and tell you all to bet on anything or use some code to sign up for whatever it is because, hey, these guys don't sponsor me. But what I did see out of BetMGM was the official post on the NHL Network's Twitter account. Because they made this post earlier yesterday, it is never too early to look ahead to next year's Stanley Cup Final. Which team will take home the Stanley Cup in 2025? Included in this post is the BetMGM 2025 Stanley Cup Final winner odds. This is as of 2 days ago, I said yesterday, right? Now, 2 days ago, July 29th, and it goes as follows. With the worst chance of winning the Stanley Cup, according to BetMGM, tied for last place with plus 4,000 as their ranking, you have the Ottawa Senators, the Minnesota Wild, and the Detroit Red Wings. In what is essentially fourth last place, with a plus 2,800 odds, you have the Winnipeg Jets. With a plus 2,200 odds, you have yourselves the Vancouver Canucks, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the LA Kings all tied. Plus 2,000, you have the Boston Bruins, plus 1,600, the Vegas Golden Knights, and then if you go from bottom to up in the first half, you have yourselves the Predators with a plus 1,600, the Maple Leafs a plus 1,500, Rangers and the Hurricanes have a plus 1,400, the Devils have a plus 1,100, the Stars and the Avalanche too. Then you have the Florida Panthers at a plus 900, and then the Edmonton Oilers have the top odds of winning the Stanley Cup with a plus 850. Now, I don't think I need to explain how all this works. If you bet $100 on the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup and you're correct, you will win $850. If you bet $100 on the Wild to win and they end up winning, you're correct, you win $4,000. So that's kind of how the odds are placed over here. Big disclaimer as well, that before we dive into any discussion about the teams themselves, we always have to preface these things by saying that bet companies, these sports odds, gambling things, they always make their odds in a particular way to get you to bet. It's always done in a specific formula to incentivize users to engage with the product. These odds makers may not even think that Edmonton has the best chance, but they'll put it on their website if they think that it incites the most money to be made. It's a money-making business after all, because out of all the people that are going to bet however much money on whoever it is that's going to win the Stanley Cup, the majority of people are going to be wrong. That's just it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Only a few select amount of people will actually get it right. And so the money earned by these betting websites for people throwing their money away by making wrong guesses significantly outweighs the amount of money that BetMGM is actually going to have to pay to people who guess the right cup champion. So that's the entire opening argument here. This is all made for money, right? That's the purpose of this thing and why it exists. But I still wanted to talk about some of these things, man. Edmonton? Do the Oilers have the best chance at winning the Stanley Cup next year? Honestly, I can understand the perspective. I mean, it literally happened last year, right? The Stanley Cup finalist, the runner-up, ends up winning the cup the next year. Florida is also up there too. Edmonton, Florida, of course, they have the highest chance of making the dance once more. That's, I feel like, kind of normal protocol with these kinds of things. You always have to automatically put the cup champion and the runner-up at the top of your next year's odds list. But then afterwards, this is where you start to think about some of the teams that are really on the outside looking in. I mean, the New Jersey Devils have the third best chance of winning the cup, tied with Dallas and Colorado, when the Devils didn't even make the gosh darn playoffs this most previous year. Now, of course, I get it. There were additions made. There are guys that are going to be coming back. Jacob Markstrom is now a Devil, and so he's probably going to solve the biggest issue the team had. But going from not making the playoffs at all to having the fourth best odds at winning the cup, third best, I feel like that's a little bit much. Do they really have as high of a percentage odds chance of winning as Colorado and Dallas? I don't really know if I'd be comfortable in saying that. Then if you go down even further, I mean, Rangers, Maple Leafs, Predators, the Predators are right in there. But you know what? I'll actually give the Predators a lot of props. They are tied with Vegas, and they are above teams like Tampa, Vancouver, Winnipeg, but Nashville, they played so well in their Vancouver series. They're so defensively sound that the only thing I think Canucks fans were sort of scared about with Nashville was if they'd be able to actually start scoring. That was the big thing that held them back from not being able to take Vancouver to a Game 7 or even winning the entire series. They couldn't score, straight up. Their defense was awesome, but now that they have themselves Marchessault and Stammer at their disposal, it makes things a lot easier for them to score. Who would have thought? Now, would it be fair to say that they have the same percentage chance odds of winning the Cup as Vegas, a team that literally won last year and has themselves an opportunity of making some damage happen once again? I don't know. That's your prerogative. You can go out there and argue that. What is the magnitude of a really good, experienced new signing going to do for your playoff odds and Stanley Cup odds? And furthermore to that, talking about Vancouver, it is so interesting to me how they have the same odds, not just as Tampa Bay. I think that's a pretty okay, reasonable one to have there, but as the LA Kings. Vancouver and LA are in the same tier of being able to win the Cup. The Kings arguably got worse this offseason with the additions that they made. Are you kidding me? Now I know, here come the LA fans in the comments saying, oh, but Lego, Vancouver and LA, the series last year, I mean, LA won almost all the games. They were a much better team than Vancouver. I will disagree when you talk about the quality of the teams. I will not disagree, though, when I say that, yeah, Vancouver just plays so poorly against the LA Kings. It's so strange. That 1-3-1 that they run was Vancouver kryptonite last year, and the only team that could actually find a way to consistently beat it was the Edmonton Oilers, because no other team in the world has a Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid-like player on the same team and on the same power play, etc., etc., etc. Vancouver was one of the many teams that just could not get past the LA 1-3-1. But to say that they're going to be at the same level of Stanley Cup odds, I don't know about that, man. I mean, the Canucks had a 3-2 lead against the Oilers in the second round before they completely disappeared and choked it away. I don't think they deserve to be that low. And with the fact that the team is actually debatably better than what it was a year ago from today, it makes me really think that BetMGM is undervaluing Vancouver and their overall odds here. You could say the same thing about the Winnipeg Jets. 2,800 odds, just above Detroit, Minnesota, and Ottawa. After Winnipeg had such a good regular season last year, Connor Hellebuyck is still supposed to be that guy. I have a lot of problems with thinking that Winnipeg is going to be this far down, to the point that they're worse than LA, New Jersey, and some of these other teams like Nashville. I mean, it's easy to say all the teams that were in the playoffs this previous playoffs should be in there, which is pretty much the case, but having some of these other teams that missed out and overtaking some of these extra real playoff teams, that just feels so interesting and strange to me. So I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about these playoff odds going as follows? The best team in the NHL for winning the Stanley Cup next year are the Edmonton Oilers, followed by the Florida Panthers, Colorado Avalanche, Dallas Stars, New Jersey Devils, Carolina Hurricanes, New York Rangers, Toronto Maple Leafs, Nashville Predators, Vegas Golden Knights, Boston Bruins, LA Kings, Tampa Bay Lightning, Vancouver Canucks, Winnipeg Jets, Detroit Red Wings, Minnesota Wild, and the Ottawa Senators. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about all these teams. We had listed, what is that, 4, 8, 9, 18 teams, so 14 of them are not represented on this list. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.